Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlus Reviews, where today we are talking about my thoughts on the current Stranger Things Tales from 85, because Stranger Things has released their next project on Netflix, taking things back a step to 1985 after the Upside Down gate has been closed and the life is just starting to feel normal for the group. Or is it? So, me, as always, let's talk about what happened in Stranger Things Tales from 85. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, obviously, same criteria as always is the best characters to start off with. And I think 11's character this season was very good, because one of the most interesting, characters, development, I think, was 11, because she was, shown on an astronomical grand scale in this show. She was basically doing everything she could to save her friends, using her telekinetic powers or some, spectacular stunt that the group was trying to pull, including the super sharp set of teeth and her visually arresting snowplow toss. So, obviously, the many scenes where they were fighting off many monsters with very bad teeth, and honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a Stranger Things monster with that many fangs. Honestly, that snow shark and that it's horrendous. But not even a Demogorgon has that many. However, she did feel trapped for a while due to Chief Hopper's cabin rules during some of the winter break, which is when this takes place, because it happens after the snowball dance. So much of her, the sheer size and the incredible power of her is perfectly matched by the mundaneness of for longing to save the party, and in a manner that makes each of her animated moments very impactful. And I think that's what makes this season exciting, and a very high stakes moment feel even more extreme. So I do like her acts of heroism in this show, but I also love her character development. And I know it's showcased throughout the whole of the series, including the original Stranger Things, but it is still good. So secondly is Dustin. I actually quite liked his character. It reminds me a bit of me, especially with the animated version, a bit different. The animation style is perfect for Dustin, as he is one of the most expressive and popular characters of the season. He has lots of comic and heroic moments when he is the enthusiastic leader of the Hawkins Investigator Club. From the hilarious reluctant live bait on the hook to catch that snow shark, he was the bait covered in food. And to just drag Steve Harrington in it is basically just what's the word we should say? Typical. It wouldn't be a typical series if Steve Harrington wasn't helping him, Dustin, with his supernatural investigations. Dustin's brilliant ideas and quick, clever speech are always a big part of the fun. Now, I would say this is an odd choice. I know some people will disagree with me here, but I do think Will Byers definitely had quite a redemption arc in this, tiny short series. But during his winter break, the animated series provides Will with a much needed despite from his roles as character with the Upside Down, the associative character, and the victim. But he is simply just a fun character because he's acting like a kid, like he should be. This one version of Will has basically touched the hearts of the community, and I think has given him a way to develop the creative side of himself and create a true, sweet friendship outside the inner circle, and brought a very colourful, dynamic screen presence to his character. Now, something that live actions couldn't really delve into because everyone's too fixated on the fact that he was the Stranger Things, the Upside Down person that started it all, but they've managed to get away from that, but quite successfully, may I add. Now, the other character, the final character I think was brilliant in this show, was the newcomer called Nikki. One sticking point I have is that they didn't kill her off. I thought they would definitely kill her off because it doesn't show up any further on in the show. However, I do think they should have, because it just doesn't make sense. But Nikki is, I think, the show's biggest, best new addition, and has already been a huge hit, unless she does in the next season. But the Mohawked character is is a transfer student who adds a bit of chaos and a bit of fun to Hawkins and the whole gang. And I do like her character, very independent, but also there was a line that stuck with me, but now I can't remember it. Just my luck, isn't it? Either way, all of them do like her quick thinking and her ability to build gadgets in that mosh pit garage thing that they said. The new Hawkins Investigators Club, she obviously builds gadgets for them as well. And then obviously the heartwarming relationship that she has with Will Byers as the person who he can talk to as someone who is very similar. Maybe not what they've gone through, but they understand the idea of being an outcast. And I think introducing him to be the very first person in the mosh pit, I think was very kind of heartwarming. So that's the best characters, and based on from what I just said for the Nikki thing, I will say some of the best moments, but the best moment so far, it was actually the introduction to Nikki. So I think a very big welcome, to the character. I think a very big welcome to the Nikki Baxter character is a given, because she really rounds off that team quite well. I mean, Max is definitely the punk rock type character, but she is just punk, that's for sure. But I like her character. Obviously, she's the daughter of the new teaching substitute for science, who has been a big source of community cheer. And one of the favorite moments of the character occurs in episode 4, when she obviously, as I say, introduces Will Byers to the mosh pit, which is the the garage. And I think it's pleasant to see them in such a fun mood, especially with winter. So the second best moment for me was the snow shark attack, the very beginning, the very first episode, in where a quiet winter snowball fight gets very cut short. Well, unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, I don't get to do snowball fights, but it sets a wild tone for the series when an underground upside down monster, we'll call it the snow shark, because literally that's what we don't know what it was actually called, but it pulls Dustin's bullies into the upside down, or into that drain thing, whatever, and the gang snows the shoveling job and goes completely haywire. But the next scene where the party must create a jumbled mess with a cowering Dustin as the unwitting bait is one of the, I think, the most hilarious and exciting action scenes of the whole season. I will say that the snow shark scene, he appears in 2, or it appears in 2. I think when we first realized that Nikki's actually, she's a nice character, she can be trusted and all, but also when they use Dustin as bait, that's just so funny. He did so much to help the team, and they're like, right, who's going to be the bait, and everyone just go, you. I think that's just comedy gold, that. Now, the other episode, I think there was too much time revolved around it, but it was a good, action sequence, I will say, which is when they were trying to hunt for that tabloid photo. I think it had such a heist vibe and a fantastic Nancy Wheeler return. A weird one, but I think it was a fantastic return. Episode 5 definitely really embraced the classics 80s kid adventure mentality, but when a rogue Polaroid picture somehow ends up at a newspaper showing how Eleven uses her powers, the children must make a very meticulously planned and hit that goes horribly wrong, shall I say, but to retrieve it so it doesn't get published. Now, it is a very memorable moment. I think it's one of the moments that I do remember quite vividly from this show, which is good. And I do think it shows the grounded investigation teamwork between the crew, and this is how they started to get their that type of mentality in the live action seasons from season 3 onwards. Now, the other thing is the finale. The finale was very good. The season finale does feature an electrifying conclusion to this season for the high stakes Stranger Things style fear and the fully made benefit for the show's sophisticated style of animations. Now, but the action does bring back the entire Hawkins Investigators Club to a huge, well-coordinated battle with the spore-spewing, upside-down creatures in the middle of a blinding winter storm. But in the drains, I think in the drains was an odd choice. I think being outside would have been maybe a tiny bit better, but it's the perfect highlight of the season, tackling the monster action and real-world character development in the form of Will and Nikki, with the fans itching for more into season 2. Now, here's something I want to point out. This show is animated, and there's a reason for that. People will not like this. I know that. And it's because people were pissed off at the end of Stranger Things 5. I'm going to say this so many times. It's because no one wanted it to end. But people are not going to like this animated style, because it is not made for those people. It is made for those diehard Stranger Things fans like myself. But it is also to get younger audiences more invested in Stranger Things. So when they go back to doing live action stuff, which they've already said they're going to do, these audiences that are watching Stranger Things Tales from 85 will understand, and probably like when they're a bit older, say, oh, can I watch regular Stranger Things? And then they'll understand it a bit more, because they did a recap in this show and it was perfect. So the one thing I want to talk about is the references to the original show. The whole idea around it is that it gets younger audiences into Stranger Things, and I think they did that perfectly. They explained the whole from season 1 to 2 all in the space of 5 minutes, with like to try to tell Nikki how it all works. I think the way they did that in the space of 5 minutes was perfect for anyone who has never seen Stranger Things before. I think is great. Don't get me wrong, I'd much rather go and watch it myself as well, but I think if you are trying to get younger audiences in it, you're doing that perfectly. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the chances of a season 2. If you've noticed, I've been saying season in this. I was fully under the idea that they wouldn't do a season 2. Season 2 to this. I was wrong. I said I didn't think it'd be a good idea because it's from Tales from 85. I do realize they can obviously change that to see season 2 as Tales from 86 or whatever. But with Netflix officially renewing Stranger Things Tales from 85 only days after its premiere, the odds of a sequel are now 100%. And the release window will actually be quite surprising, because the showrunner Eric Nobles has already teased that the town's creepy silver mines are now home to a new dangerous paranormal phenomenon, to which the Hawkins Investigators Club, or the HIC, will have to be dedicated a new batch of episodes to that. So the fast follow-up shows Netflix is in full. Basically, they are doing a second season, but I think that might be the last one, or they might do a third one to round it off. But Nikki needs to die. Or it will piss people off like me. I didn't realize they were doing a season 2 when she didn't die. I'm like, huh? Then I realized they're doing a season 2. But it only makes sense if they kill her off. It only makes sense. So, and obviously people are wondering if they'll cover different characters in this, like Eddie Munson. No, they won't. Because obviously this is between season 2 and 3, not 3 and 4. I would like to see a show between season 3 and 4, Max dealing with her grief, the formation of the Hellfire Club, and meeting Eddie Munson. I do think that would be quite good, like a very Ghostbusters inspired series, or like what they do during the summer. However, I don't think that this should go on for any longer than 3 seasons, or you are going to kill this franchise in the most horrific way. Because I think the only way you can carry this show on is until the beginning, or in correlation to season 3, because they do mention Starcourt Mall is opening soon in this. So it makes sense. But that's just me. What do you think about chances of season 2? Or what do you think of a season 2 for Stranger Things Tales from 85? So let's talk about the other reviews and what other people are thinking about this. So IGN said a vibrant neon-soaked love letter to the 80s that proves that Stranger Things universe is far more expansive and versatile than the main live-action series alone could ever convey. I do agree with that. I do. I think this is very different. It's not your typical main live action series. It is very different, but it's a good different. There are gonna be people that are not happy with it. Just then, if you are not happy with it, go. The Verge said that while not every short reaches the heights of The Vanishing of the Wheel by its first episode prologue, the sheer variety of animation from the stop motion to the synthwave anime makes like the visual feast, makes it a visual feast. Yes, again, I agree, because I don't like anime, but this is a good even medium. It's like Telltale. Ow! Ow!
It could have been killed.
Don't do that, where your knuckles gonna absolutely scrape against the desk. Ow! Jeez. Anyway, I do agree with that, because it is animated. It is doing what it's supposed to in the end. Collider said that the series succeeds by focusing on the little moments of Hawkins' residence, providing a haunting and often beautiful look at how supernatural events have permanently scarred the town. Okay. There's a lot of reviews that I read and then say me or whoever I'm doing the review with are like, why? Yes, exactly, yes. I think that this show does what the main series struggled to do, which was show those heart-to-heart, but like also fun, goofy moments. And I think obviously bringing the younger audiences into that, they'll be more invested in that, but then they'll also go and watch the real stuff and realize, oh, this was missing to start with. I think they've done this perfectly. Has it got flaws? Absolutely. But if you look at the bigger picture, not just the show, if you look at its impact, it is amazing. It's easy watching as well, which for me is brilliant. And then Empire said that a disjointed but ultimately rewarding experiment that captures the spirit of the original while pushing the franchise into a bold experimental territory. Again, yes. Now, that's basically just saying what it did. Yes, you're right, it did do that, but you didn't actually give a review, but anyway. So comparing it to the old show, the original, I would say, the original Stranger Things, while it is nostalgic, slow burning, and a very psychologically terror route, whereas this show is a very fast-paced and vibrant, basically just cartoon. But as I said, it is high energy fun. It is just for the audience that it's targeting. With the animated characters and monsters, it can be seen as very wild, as a highly styled as they wish to be. So it would be impossible but and very costly to achieve with the live action visual effects. But I think they are going down the right route for now. I don't think they can sustain this though. I've made that very clear. So, overall thoughts on the show, it is very good. It is, I wouldn't say it's a 10 out of 10, solid 8. I would be willing to push it down to a 7, but I can appreciate it. I know some people will not, and they might not ever, that's fine. But if you are like me and you analyze a lot of this stuff, I understand where it's coming from, and it's good to get like the younger audiences involved, so if they want to watch Stranger Things when they're older, and then they can watch more shows whenever they will release one day. But there you have it, the real horror dimensional stuff in cartoon form. Not too bad, to be honest, and I'm not complaining. But without further ado, folks, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see on the channel. Stay tuned, we've got more reviews coming this week, but I hope you have an amazing day as always. Bye bye. Yeah.